Felicity McVay is a pioneer in the digital content space, being the former global head of entertainment at TikTok. And she joins us here on the couch at South by Southwest Sydney Studio. Felicity McVay, thank you so much for joining me in the South by Southwest Sydney Studio.
It's my absolute pleasure. I am so excited to be here.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. You know, you're involved in a couple of sessions here, but one of them I'm really interested about. It's called 36 Months. Could you give us a bit of an insight into what you'll be discussing?
Absolutely. So 36 Months is a campaign that was launched by Michael Whitfley, who is a radio personality, and Rob Galuzzo, who is the founder of Finch. And they launched this campaign back in May of this year to advocate for increasing the age for social media citizenship from 13 to 16. So essentially giving back 36 months to young people so that they can immerse themselves in real life experiences and real life connections. So on Wednesday, I will be sitting down with Whipper and also Hamish Blake, who's a TV personality and comedian, and Maggie Dent, who is a very well-known parenting expert. I think she's published 16 books. She's prolific and just such a wonderful person to listen to. I've listened to endless podcasts of hers in preparation for the session. And so we'll really just be talking about, you know, what has been the impact of social media on young people and the changes, I think, because, you know, back in the 2010s, you know, for Gen Z, they're the first generation who have had phones in their hands since puberty, essentially, and then access to social media. And I think it's just a case of we didn't know what we didn't know.
That's right.
And now the data is in and it's about reframing the conversation and saying, hang on a minute, we're seeing anxiety, depression, self-harm, suicide, eating disorders on the rise at a really alarming rate. So how can we rein that in? What can we actually do? And I think that the time is now to take action. So
I think so.
I'm really excited to have this conversation with them.
It's a really pertinent topic because I've got young nephews and they've grown up their entire lives with a device in their hand of some sort, even just for entertainment as very young children. And I often describe it to friends. I've said when we were younger, it was you were desperate to be liked. Whereas now there's an entire generation of young people growing up desperate for likes. And it's a big, big difference because to be liked requires personal interactions with people and stuff, whereas the likes is a very different agenda.
I don't think it was ever really anticipated that it was for children. And I'm incredibly proud of the things that social has delivered. I mean, it's given people the world over a voice where they previously wouldn't have had one, you know, when TV was the only medium. It's facilitated connection and a sense of community, no matter how niche your interests or you know, where you're from, what your background is. It's opened up education, platforms like YouTube. You can go on there and you can learn absolutely anything and everything. But as you just said, it's that dopamine hit that we're all chasing.
Of course.
But when your brain is in this really critical development stage between the ages of 13 and 16 and you can't differentiate necessarily, you don't have the emotional regulation to say, okay, well, my post didn't get any likes, but I'm still a really likable person. I'm okay. Or at the other end of the extreme, if things go wrong, so let's say you post something and then people start hating on you and saying awful things, like having the resilience and the self-esteem at that young age to be able to say, I don't need to buy into this.
That's right.
I'm fine. I'm really happy with what I've posted. Actually, quick sidebar story. To promote the cause and to promote the session last night on Instagram, I dug out all of my old formal photos.
Oh, brilliant.
From when I was 15, 16, 17, and they are horrendous. I mean, I have
lot
three
of taffeta,
daughters.
Lot of taffeta.
Exactly. That's the era that I'm in. Long elbow-length gloves, scarves.
Yes.
And I have three daughters who are aged 13, 12 and 9, 10. Forget their ages. And they looked at these photos and just went, oh my goodness, Mum, your hair. Are you dressed as Beetlejuice for Halloween? I'm like, no, I'm going to a formal. So if I had posted those photos as a teen, would I have been bullied? Chances are yes. And then you just don't know where that would have taken me. But instead, I grew up blissfully ignorant of the fact that I was a walking fashion disaster and instead, just connected in the real world around cooking and camping and rowing and debating and, all the things that I loved at the time, just unaware because the world didn't have access to me and I was still figuring out who I was. I think that's really the main point of this. It's like, let's give young people an opportunity to get to know themselves before the rest of the world does.
And one word that I took away from what you just said there was resilience, because it's now, you see a lot of people now conducting workshops, resilience workshops in schools and things, because that the demand for that is so great because of the pressures at such a young age to be popular on social media.
That's right. I mean, I think we just have to wind it back to this position of, do the positives outweigh the negatives, or do the negatives outweigh the positives? And a lot of young people, I know that Whipper has gone into a lot of schools and spoken with young people and asked them the question directly, if social media disappeared tomorrow for everybody, would your life be better or worse? And they all put up their hands and say it would be better. I'd be if no one was on it, it would just be such a relief,
such pressure release, isn't it? Like it just to not have to be accountable. I know in people using it for businesses or to promote themselves or things like that. It's just the constant find 5-10 minutes of your day to do that, and sometimes that gets hard.
That's right. And do you need to be building a brand when you're 13, 14, 15 years old?
Exactly.
No, there's so many better ways to spend your time.
And so would that be the main thing that you want people who listen to that particular session, the 36 months, is that what you want the main takeaway to be, or is there some other message that you're hoping
No,
they walk
absolutely.
away with?
That is the main message.
Great.
So the 36 months campaign is running at the moment, and I think really the purpose of the session is to have an interesting conversation, to talk through the data, to hear from Maggie, because she has so much on the ground experience dealing with parents and young people, to talk through the data and to enable the audience to make their own decisions, an informed decision about where they think we should land. And if they agree with what 36 months is all about, is for them to then take action, to sign the petition.
And now dipping your toe into the feature film world, with your time at TikTok, has that influenced your approach to storytelling or the way stories are told? And can you see that somehow influencing film projects that you wish to work on in the future?
That is a great question. That's a very insightful question. So I think the answer is yes. Possibly not so much in terms of how, for example, with Spit the Story was crafted, but certainly from a marketing perspective. And so obviously so much of the success of a film is around marketing and promotion, and you have such a limited window in which to capture people's attention. So one thing that we thought about going into Spit was, well, how can we talk to a younger audience that might, beyond going and seeing all of the big blockbuster films, might not be going into cinemas. And so that played into some casting decisions.
Interesting.
And pulling from some creators off YouTube and TikTok and bringing them in either as main characters. So we actually cast the Ribka twins, who are massive on YouTube with a huge US audience, because we needed to cast twins. It's really difficult to find blonde twins in their 20s. And when I was sitting there with the other producers, talking about, well, how are we going to find these people? I just said, Ribka twins. We should just, and for them, they were first-time actors, so it presented a really great opportunity for them in expanding what they want to do, but potentially then connects us with a really interesting audience.
Yeah, amazing. And I guess even from the YouTube days, we've seen, musicians just explode by using the platform of YouTube and having careers that probably would not have happened if they weren't on that platform.
100%. And TikTok music is so massive on TikTok. So the person who we appointed as our music supervisor is somebody who I worked with at TikTok.
There you go.
Ollie Wards, who was the former head of content programming. Essentially, he was the head of Triple J, so he's just a walking encyclopedia when it comes to music. And he also runs the music division at TikTok, and he's just so tapped into culture. And then he brings with him a wealth of ideas on, okay, well, this is the music that we've put into the film. Okay, how can we mobilise the audiences of those artists and get them into
the
it's about
film.
just trying to think about things differently and wondering, okay, where can we tap into different communities? We also have a deaf character in the film, Sofia Golan, who's an amazing actress, and she was such a great partner on the film, has really opened my eyes to the deaf community and their needs, and working with a deaf actor. And so we really tried to kind of write a bit of a playbook that we could pass on to other productions.
Brilliant.
But once again saying, okay, we have this incredible actor, how can we connect more deeply with people within the, you know, capital D, small d, deaf community, and create a film that's also going to talk to them.
Amazing. And it's sort of, it's almost as if it's opened up a whole set of tools, and it's up to you which you use, and you can draw from so many different things as opposed to casting director, audition.
Exactly.
That's all you've got.
Exactly.
Well, we'll look out for that. Spit. When is it? When are we seeing it released?
Don't know exactly, but let's say early 2025.
Fantastic. Well, I've heard my favourite role is the newsreader, so that's just
You're
I'm
very
just
kind.
Like,
You're
preempting it. It's so great to have you here, Felicity. Thank you so much for joining us here at the South by Southwest Sydney studio, and enjoy your time at the fest.
Thank you so much. It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
You.